Alright, it is June 25th, 2018 at 8:23 p.m. Okay, I came across this. Warning issues after snake found inside pool noodle in Arizona. We're told that family was getting ready to take a dip in the pool. They grabbed two noodles that were up against the wall. That's when a big snake popped out of one of them and they found several babies inside. They're out fast-moving fellow residents in the valley, making their way through the desert and sometimes into backyards. It's ungodly hot, and snakes are just looking for somewhere to hide. Pretty much, snakes will hide, especially when it's hot, and anywhere they can find shade. If you leave shoes by the door, pool noodles, anything outside, you gotta be careful. Also, remember not to leave children or dogs outside in cars or anywhere that's enclosed in the heat. Alright, next article. A giant blob of hot rock is building up under America's northeast. A vast mass of hot rock is welling up underneath Vermont and extending into other subterranean regions below New England, new research shows. The upwelling was detected is like a hot air balloon, and we infer that something is rising up through the deeper part of our planet under New England, says geophysicist Vaden Levin from Rutgers University, New Brunswick. You see the section highlighted right there? Says scientists used a network of thousands of seismic measurement devices in the largest geological study of its kind, detecting the enormous blob upwelling under Vermont, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, and possibly elsewhere. Since New England doesn't have any active volcanoes, the huge buildup is thought to be a geological recent phenomenon, although in this case that means it could have slowly but steadily been growing for tens of millions of years. As for whether the mass could one day erupt, that's the way these things go, the team says, although there's no point in panicking since such an eventuality is still a long, long way from happening. It will likely take millions of years for the upwelling to get where it's going, Levin explains, and the new step is to try to understand how exactly it's happening. The team analyzed the blob using EarthScope, a multi-institutional network of instruments monitoring seismic movements rippling through the North American continent. Buried in 2 years of data, the team zeroed in on New England having previously identified a thermal anomaly that was hundreds of degrees Celsius hotter than its surroundings in the upper mantle, about 200 kilometers, or 124.2 miles below the surface, and measuring approximately 400 kilometers, 248.5 miles in diameter. It is a very large and relatively stable region, says Levin, but we found an irregular pattern with rather abrupt changes in it. Using new readings of seismic waves traveling through Earth's underground, the team suggested the blob is welling directly under central Vermont, but it extends into western New Hampshire and also western Massachusetts. The researchers acknowledge the mass may travel beyond these states, although they are unable to tell from the data they used in this study. That said, as enormous as this blob is, compared to other volcanic masses churning under the continental U.S., it's no giant. It's not Yellowstone National Park-like, but it's distant relative in the sense that something relatively small, no more than a couple hundred miles across, is happening, explains Levin. There's still a lot to learn about this mass and its behavior, but the researchers say their findings challenge what we think we know about geological conditions under this Atlantic margin of North America, and how passive we wrongly assumed it to be. We do not expect to find abrupt changes in physical properties beneath this region, says Levin, and the likely explanation points to a much more dynamic regime underneath this old geological quiet area. As dynamic as it looks to be, this rising blob of hot rock still has a long journey ahead of it wants to one day reach the surface and graduate to being a proper volcano. Whether that's an actual possibility, nobody really can say for sure just yet. Maybe it didn't have time yet, or maybe it's too small and will never make it, Levin told National Geographic. Come back in 50 million years and we'll see what happens. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting story because I had seen, I believe it was a Facebook post about an earthquake happening in Massachusetts recently, so that might have something to do with this giant blob of hot rock. Let's see. Significant cold outbreak affecting Europe, 20 centimeters or 7.9 inches of fresh snow in Alps. Major water spout outbreak. This is in the Watchers. Yeah, apparently snow has hit the Alps, especially at these times when it's summer. It says a significant cold outbreak for this time of year is affecting much of Europe. Nighttime and morning temperatures experienced across continent are way below average at the end of June, and parts of the Alps have received 20 centimeters or 7.9 inches of fresh snow today, June 25th. After a pretty warm and locally hot May, courtesy of a mega blocking pattern, Europe experienced quite a significant pattern change last week with a deep through and cold outbreak pushed far south from Scandinavia across eastern Central Europe and Balkan Peninsula. Take a look at the temperature anomaly models below. See, it's warm there, cooler here, and then wow. Temperature anomaly, June 22nd. Yep. 2-meter temperature anomaly GFS model. Yep. Fresh snow was reported at the ski resort in Austria in the morning of June 25th. Gotta stay vigilant at these times with these weather patterns changing. Always gotta keep an eye out for rare or strange weather patterns. Alright, now looking at earthquakes. Let's see. The earthquake near New England didn't show up. Let's see what else they have. Guatemala, 4.6 magnitude. A 4.2 in Cristobal, New Mexico. Let's see. A 5.0 in Isnagel, Vanuatu. A 5.2 in Pamanzi, Mayotte. And a 5.5 in Mahoney, Greece. Yeah, not a lot of very large, but there are some 5 point and higher, and a 5.0 in Isnagel, Vanuatu. Alright. Let's see, this one up here in Greenland, a 4.0 in Greenland, and a 4.9 in the central mid-Atlantic ridge. Alright. Hope you guys are having a good evening. That's it for this video.